The orbital station called Apex 7 floated in the darkness of space like a massive crown of metal and light. Inside its central arena, thousands of aliens from across the galaxy gathered for the annual Warrior Tournament. The air buzzed with excitement and the sounds of 100 different languages. Representative stood at the center of the arena floor. His red skin gleamed under the bright lights, and his four arms moved as he spoke. He held up a small device that projected Earth's location on a holographic map. And finally, said with a smile that showed too many teeth, we extend an invitation to the primitive world called Earth. Perhaps they will send us something amusing. The crowd laughed. Everyone knew about Earth, a small blue planet on the edge of the galaxy, barely noticed by anyone important. The humans there had only just learned to travel between stars. Around the arena, the real warriors prepared. They were there, massive creatures covered in natural armor that could stop plasma blasts. They sharpened their blades, their four eyes scanning everything with predatory focus. They sat in meditation, their minds powerful enough to crush steel with thought alone. 3 days later, Earth's delegation arrived. The docking bay doors opened and 5 humans walked out. They wore simple black clothing that covered them from neck to feet. No armor, no visible weapons, no technology that anyone could see. They moved quietly across the metal floor, their footsteps barely making sound. The one in front was a man named. He looked to be in his 30s, with dark hair and calm eyes. He walked like someone who had nothing to prove, which made the watching aliens laugh even harder. Beside him walked a woman with her hair tied back in a tight knot. Then came Minu carrying a simple bag, moved like water, each step flowing into the next, brought up the rear, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. Kay, the massive champion, stepped forward. He stood 3 meters tall, his body covered in thick gray armor plating that had won him 50 consecutive victories. He looked down at the humans and snorted. "What is this?" Kay's voice boomed across the bay. "Earth sends children in pajamas." Stopped and looked up at the giant warrior. He bowed slightly from the waist. "We are ninja," said simply. "We accept your invitation to compete." The word meant nothing to anyone there. Translators struggled with the concept. Finally, it came through as something like Shadow Warrior or Hidden Blade. "Ninja," Kay laughed, and the sound echoed off the walls. "Your world sends assassins who hide in darkness. We are WARRAORS. We fight with honor face to face, strength against strength." Other warriors gathered around, amused by the spectacle. The Blade Master examined the humans with his multiple eyes. "They carry no weapons I can see. Perhaps they plan to bore us to death with their stillness." A psychic reached out with her mind to probe the humans. She frowned. Their thoughts were quiet, not empty but controlled, disciplined in a way she had never encountered. "We will fight however you require," said, her voice steady. "Name your terms." This caused more laughter. A warrior enhanced with cybernetic implants shook his head. "They don't even understand what they're agreeing to. This tournament has killed stronger beings than them." The Galactic Council members watched from their high platform. They whispered among themselves. This was unusual. Earth had been invited as a formality, a way to mock the primitive world and remind them of their place. But the humans had actually come. "Let them compete in the lowest tier," one council member said. "When they lose quickly, they will leave and we can forget about them." "Agreed," said another. "Put them against the training-level opponents. It will be over in minutes." Kay stepped closer too, so close that the human had to tilt his head back to maintain eye contact. "I challenge you, little shadow warrior. When you fail, your world will know its place." "Accepted," said without hesitation. The crowd roared with approval. This would be entertaining at least. Watching the primitive humans get crushed would be a good warm-up for the real tournament. Officials led the Earth team to their assigned quarters, a small section of the station far from the main warrior areas. As they walked, aliens pointed and laughed. Some threw trash. Others shouted insults in languages the humans didn't understand, though the meaning was clear enough. The 5 humans didn't react. They didn't speed up or slow down. They didn't look angry or afraid. They just kept walking, their faces calm. When they reached their quarters and the door sealed behind them, Minu set down his bag and began unpacking. They think we're a joke. Good, said quietly. He moved to the window and looked out at the massive arena visible in the distance. Ships from 1,000 worlds surrounded it, all here to watch warriors prove themselves. Underestimation is our first advantage, continued. They expect strength and flash and noise. They've never seen what silence can do. They've never fought against patience. Joined him at the window. How do you want to handle the first match? Exactly as we trained, said. We show them what they expect to see, and then we show them what they never imagined possible. Smiled, the first expression any of them had shown since arriving. They wanted warriors. Let's show them what Earth has learned in 10,000 years of shadow warfare. Outside their window, the galaxy prepared for a tournament. Inside the room, 5 ninja prepared for war. The mocking would end soon. The would begin. The arena floor had been transformed into a wide circular platform. The surface was smooth metal with minimal cover, just a few scattered barriers no taller than a human waist. This was the open combat configuration, designed for straightforward fights between warriors. Stood on one side of the circle, his black clothing simple against the bright arena lights. Across from him, Ash prepared himself. The warrior stood twice as tall as the human, his natural armor plating thick across his chest and shoulders. His fists alone were the size of his head. 50,000 aliens watched from the surrounding seats. Their voices created a roar of anticipation and amusement. Look how small he is, someone shouted. This won't last 30 seconds. Maybe the human will run away. The official, a thin alien with gray skin, raised one arm. Combatants ready, both fighters nodded. The official's arm dropped. Begin. Ash charged immediately. His feet pounded the metal floor like thunder. He raised one massive fist, ready to end this with a single blow. Moved. He didn't charge forward or backward. He stepped to the side, letting Ash's momentum carry the giant past him. The stumbled slightly, surprised by hitting nothing but air. The crowd booed. Fight humans, stop running. Ash turned and charged again. Again, moved, this time in a different direction. The fist slammed into the floor where it had been standing a moment before, creating a small dent in the metal. This continued for nearly a minute. Ash charging, swinging, attacking with all his considerable strength. Moving, always moving, never in the same pattern twice. He didn't attack back. He just watched. Some in the crowd began throwing garbage onto the arena floor. Coward, they screamed. Fight like a warrior. Kay watched from the warrior's box, his arms crossed. The human knows he cannot win, so he delays the inevitable. Pathetic. But the tilted his head thoughtfully. His multiple eyes tracked movements. Wait. Look at the human's eyes. He's not afraid. He's studying. Ash was breathing heavily now. His attacks were becoming wider, less controlled. Frustration made his movements predictable. He charged again, roaring his anger. His entire body changed. The defensive, evasive human vanished. In his place was something else entirely. He moved forward, not away. His hand shot out, fingers extended, and struck Ash's knee joint where the armor plating connected. There was a precise impact point there, a weak spot in every natural armor. Had been studying Ash's movements for the entire fight, waiting to confirm the exact location. Ash's leg buckled slightly. Before he could recover, was already moving again. A strike to the throat, right below the jaw plate. Another to the pressure point behind Ash's ear. 3 moves. 3 precise strikes to spots that didn't even know were vulnerable. Ash's eyes rolled back. His massive body swayed once, then collapsed forward onto the arena floor with a crash that shook the entire platform. Silence filled the arena. The official rushed forward, checking Ash's vital signs. Unconscious, the human wins. Bowed to his fallen opponent and walked calmly off the platform. Total fight time, 47 seconds. The crowd didn't know how to react. Some cheered uncertainly. Others sat in shocked silence. A few still booed, though with less confidence than before. In the warrior's box spoke softly. "Did you see what I saw?" "A lucky strike against a fool who lost his discipline," another warrior replied. "No," said, "that human didn't land a single wasted movement. Everything was calculated. Every strike had purpose." The announcer's voice filled the arena. Next match, of Earth versus the Hunter pair. A murmur ran through the crowd. There were ambush predators from a dark world. They evolved to hunt in complete silence, their bodies able to blend with any environment. They always fought in pairs, their hunting strategy perfected over millions of years of evolution. Two stepped onto the platform as it transformed. The floor shifted, rising in places and falling in others. Structures appeared, creating a maze of walls and passages that resembled ancient ruins. Shadows filled the spaces between buildings. The arena setting was now urban ruins. Walked onto the platform from the opposite side. She was smaller than, her movements quiet and fluid. She looked at the transformed arena and nodded once. The two were already gone. Their camouflage activated the moment they entered the ruins, making them invisible against the background. Even their breathing made no sound. "Begin," the official announced. Vanished into the ruins. For 8 long minutes, nothing happened. The crowd watched the holographic displays that showed different angles of the urban maze. Sensors picked up occasional movements, a flicker here, a shadow there, but nothing definite, nothing clear. Some spectators grew bored. Others leaned forward, fascinated by this strange new kind of combat. In one section of the ruins, clung to a wall, completely invisible. Its partner waited 3 structures away, ready to strike from a different angle when their prey revealed itself. This was how they hunted, patient, coordinated, deadly. A small sound came from below. The first tensed, ready to drop onto its target. Something struck it in the neck, a tiny dart no bigger than a needle. This camouflage flickered once, then failed as unconsciousness took it. It fell from the wall and landed hard on the ground. 3 structures away, the second heard the impact. It began to move toward its partner's last position. Another dart, another precise strike to the neck. The second collapsed mid-step. Appeared on a rooftop, standing clearly visible for the first time since the match began. She held a small blowgun in one hand. She bowed toward the fallen, then toward the crowd. The official rushed in to check both unconscious. Earth wins again. This time the crowd's reaction was different. The laughter had stopped. People looked at each other uncertainly. These humans were not what anyone had expected. Kay stood up in the warrior's box. "This proves nothing. They fight like cowards from hiding. Let them face a real challenge." But others were not so sure anymore. That night, the tournament organizers met in a private chamber. They looked at the recordings of both matches, watching them over and over. "Move them to Tier 2 competition," one organizer finally said. "They don't belong with the beginners." "Agreed," said another. "Let's see how they handle real warriors." The galaxy was beginning to pay attention to Earth's ninja team, and the ninja had only just begun to show what they could do. The arena had changed again. This time it showed complete darkness. Stars dotted the background, but there was no up or down, no solid ground. Floating obstacles drifted through the space, some large enough to hide behind, others small and useless. This was the void, a zero-gravity combat zone. Minyu floated at one end, his body slowly rotating in the weightlessness. He had several small objects attached to his belt, including what looked like simple throwing stars. His face remained calm as he steadied himself. Across from him, unprepared himself. The warrior was tall and thin, his large head containing a brain powerful enough to read surface thoughts and move objects with his mind alone. He had won 20 matches using his psychic abilities. Most opponents couldn't even get close to him. "This will be educational," On said, his voice echoing in the arena. "I will show the galaxy how helpless these humans are against true power." The match began. Minyu pushed off from his starting platform, moving through the void toward a floating barrier. On didn't move at all. He simply reached out with his mind, reading Minyu's thoughts. Attack from the left. On shifted a floating obstacle into Minyu's path. The human had to twist in midair to avoid collision. Throw a shuriken now. On saw the thought form and was already moving before Minyu's hand reached his belt. The throwing star sailed harmlessly past him. The crowd watched with interest. Finally, a clear demonstration of superior alien ability. The human's every move was predicted, countered, made useless. Minyu seemed to grow frustrated. His movements became more aggressive, more desperate. He grabbed a floating bar and swung himself around, trying to approach from an unexpected angle. On laughed and read the intention before Minyu even completed the swing. "Your thoughts betray you, human. You cannot surprise me. I see your intentions before you act on them." This continued for several minutes. Minyu attacking, On effortlessly avoiding or blocking. The was enjoying himself, drawing out the fight for the entertainment of the crowd. Then something changed. On reached out with his mind to read Minyu's next move and found nothing. Not emptiness, but a wall. The human's thoughts had gone completely silent, locked away behind perfect mental discipline. For the first time, On felt a touch of concern. Minyu moved. He threw a shuriken not at On but at a floating barrier to his right. The star bounced off at an angle, struck another obstacle and ricocheted again. On tracked it with his eyes, confused by the seemingly random throw. 2 more shurikens followed, each taking different paths, bouncing off obstacles at calculated angles. On tried to follow all 3, his psychic abilities useless without being able to read where they were meant to go. All 3 stars converged on him from different directions, simultaneously. One struck his shoulder, another hit his thigh, the third caught him in the side. The impacts weren't enough to seriously injure, but they didn't need to be. The nerve strike poison on the stars did the work. On's body went numb. He tried to use his telekinesis to stop himself from drifting, but his concentration was broken. He floated helplessly in the void, unable to move or focus. "Winner Minyu of Earth," the official announced. The crowd sat in stunned silence. They had just watched a human defeat a psychic warrior using nothing but geometry and physics. No special powers, no advanced technology, just calculation and discipline. Stood up in the warrior's box. "I withdraw my earlier assessment. These humans are not lucky. They are skilled in ways we don't understand." News networks across the galaxy began broadcasting special reports. "Who are Earth's ninja warriors?" the headlines asked. "Unknown fighting style defeats galactic champions." The tournament bracket was updated. Earth's remaining fighters were now facing Tier 1 opponents, the elite warriors of their respective species. The next match was announced immediately. The organizers wanted to see more. Of Earth versus of, the announcer called out, long-range combat configuration. The arena transformed into a massive canyon. Rocky terrain stretched for 3 kilometers, with high cliffs, deep valleys, and scattered boulders providing cover and shooting positions. Was legendary among snipers. His 4 eyes could track multiple targets simultaneously, and his cybernetic enhancements gave him targeting calculations faster than any computer. He had never missed a shot in competition. He immediately moved to the high ground, finding a perfect vantage point overlooking most of the canyon. His rifle hummed as it powered up, its scope linking with his cybernetic implants. Appeared in the canyon below. She stood in plain sight on a flat rock, which confused everyone watching. What kind of sniper made themselves an obvious target? Begin. Targeting systems locked onto. An easy shot. Too easy. He hesitated, suspicious. He fired. The figure on the rock shimmered and dispersed like smoke. A visual trick, some kind of holographic decoy combined with dust and careful positioning. His four eyes narrowed. Clever, but he had advanced sensors. He began scanning the canyon, looking for heat signatures, movement, anything that would reveal the real. For 20 minutes, he fired at shapes in the canyon, sometimes at what appeared to be running between cover, other times at suspicious movements in the rocks. Each time, his shot hit nothing solid. Shadows, decoys, carefully arranged dust clouds that looked like a person from a distance. His ammunition counter dropped, 70 rounds remaining, 50, 30. Felt something he rarely experienced, uncertainty. Where was she? How was she creating so many convincing false targets? His sensors should be able to penetrate these tricks. 10 rounds left. A single shot rang out from somewhere in the canyon. Not the quiet hum of energy weapons, but the sharp crack of a projectile weapon, something primitive and chemical-based. His rifle sparked and died. The bullet had entered through a tiny 2-centimeter gap in his weapon's housing, destroying the power core with perfect precision. He looked down at his ruined weapon in disbelief. That shot was impossible. That gap was barely visible, and his weapon had been moving as he scanned the area. Appeared on a ridge 800 meters away. She held a simple rifle, the kind that used gunpowder and metal bullets, ancient technology by galactic standards. "I yield," called out, his voice carrying across the canyon. The crowd erupted. Half cheered for the incredible display of skill. The other half argued about whether primitive weapons should even be allowed in the tournament. In the Warriors' box, conversations grew serious. Kay was no longer laughing, had a thoughtful expression. Even the representatives looked concerned. "They're not lucky," one warrior said. "They're trained for this, every one of them." "But trained how?" another asked. "We've never seen these techniques. This style of combat doesn't exist in any galactic database." Watched from Earth's viewing area. He showed no expression, no pride or satisfaction, just calm observation. An official approached him. "There is a challenge. War Master requests a match against you directly." The room went quiet. Everyone knew that name. Had won the tournament 5 years in a row, 300 victories, 0 defeats. He was a master of 7 different combat styles and had trained warriors on a dozen worlds. "Tell him I accept," said simply. The galaxy was about to see what a true ninja master could do. The entire galaxy seemed to be watching. Ships arrived at Apex 7 from every corner of known space. The arena expanded its viewing capacity, adding holographic projectors for the overflow crowd. This was no longer just another tournament match. This was history. Stood in the preparation chamber, his golden armor gleaming under the lights. He was built like a statue, all muscle and discipline. His species, were natural warriors but had taken that gift and perfected it through decades of training. He had studied every combat style the galaxy had to offer. An official entered the chamber. "War Master, you requested total combat rules." "Yes," replied, his voice deep and certain. "No rules. All weapons permitted. Fight continues until one combatant yields or cannot continue." The human accepted these terms. He did. The official hesitated. "War Master, the human's team has shown unusual skill, but you are." "I know what I am," interrupted gently. "That is precisely why I must fight him this way. I want to understand what these humans truly are. Half measures will teach me nothing." The arena floor shifted and changed as both fighters entered. This was the Crucible, a configuration that transformed every 3 minutes. It would cycle through forest, desert, urban ruins, and mountain terrain. A fighter had to adapt constantly or die. Walked to his starting position wearing the same simple black clothing. He carried a short sword on his back and several smaller blades at his belt. Nothing compared to his gleaming armor and plasma weapons. The crowd's noise was deafening. Some chanted its name. Others shouted encouragement to the human who had shocked them all. Betting networks reported the highest volume of wagers in tournament history. "Combatants ready?" the official asked. Both fighters nodded. "Begin." The arena floor was currently configured as a dense forest. Tall trees provided cover. Undergrowth made movement difficult. Moved forward carefully, his every sense alert. Vanished into the forest immediately. Smiled, this was what he expected. He activated his armor's sensor suite, scanning for heat signatures and movement. There, a thermal bloom 30 meters to his left. He fired a plasma bolt. It struck a tree, burning through the wood. But there was no one there, just a small chemical heating device. Frowned and kept moving. Another thermal signature appeared to his right. He turned, ready to fire, and realized it was another decoy. "These tricks won't save you," called out. "Face me properly." A blade whistled through the air. Reflexes were perfect. He caught the thrown weapon inches from his face and threw it aside. But it had served its purpose. Whilst attention was on the blade, struck from above, dropping from a tree branch. His sword aimed for the gap between shoulder armor plates. Twisted impossibly fast and blocked the strike with his armored forearm. He grabbed for, but the human was already rolling away, using his own momentum to create distance. "Good," said genuine pleasure in his voice. "Finally, a challenge." The forest began to dissolve, sand rising up to replace trees. The environment shifted to desert. Wind picked up, creating small dust clouds. Charged forward, his combat training flowing through him. He used 3 different martial techniques in rapid succession, each strike powerful enough to break bones. Avoided them all but barely. Was faster than he looked, stronger too, and his technique was flawless. A heavy blow caught his shoulder, sending him spinning to the ground. He rolled with the impact and came up moving, but saw the slight limp. First blood to the War Master. "Why do you run?" demanded, pressing his advantage. "Stand and fight with honor." His voice came from behind a sand dune. "Honor doesn't win wars, survival does." The statement enraged. Combat was sacred to his people. It wasn't about survival, it was about proving oneself, about testing skill against skill in honest challenge. He roared and charged around the dune. Was there, but instead of running, he attacked. His blade struck its knee joint, the gap in the armor. Blocked it, but the human's other hand struck his wrist, hitting a nerve cluster. His left arm went numb for a moment. Just a moment, but it was enough for to create distance again. The desert shifted to urban ruins. Broken buildings rose from the sand, creating a maze of corridors and the fight continued. Landed hits, heavy ones, but never quite enough to end it. Took damage, blood running from a cut above his eye, his movement slower than before. But he kept fighting, kept moving, kept striking at joints and pressure points and nerve clusters. His right leg began to feel weak. Had hit the same spot 3 times now, each strike precise, each one adding to the cumulative damage. The crowd was divided. Half cheered for his powerful, honorable combat. The other half gasped its precision and strategy. In the warrior's box, leaned forward. "Look at what the human is doing. He's not trying to match strength. He's dismantling him piece by piece." "It's dishonorable," Kay growled, though his voice lacked its earlier certainty. "It's effective," replied. The environment shifted one final time to a mountain setting. Rocky cliffs surrounded them, with narrow paths and dangerous drops. His left arm was still partially numb. His right leg wasn't responding correctly. His breathing was heavy from exertion and pain, but he was far from finished. He drew on decades of training and pure warrior's will. He charged one final time, every remaining bit of strength focused into a devastating attack. Didn't run. He stepped to the side at the last possible moment and struck the back of his neck with his hand, hitting the exact spot where the spine met the skull. A perfect knockout blow, delivered with just enough force. His eyes rolled back, his body went limp, but moved with incredible speed. He caught the falling warrior before he hit the ground, muscles straining under the weight of his armored body. Gently, carefully, lowered the War Master to the ground. Then he bowed, a deep, respectful bow to a fallen warrior who had given everything in combat. The arena went completely silent. Then it erupted. Half the crowd cheered wildly, the other half screamed in outrage. Arguments broke out across the stadium. Some called it the greatest fight they had ever seen. Others called it a mockery of true combat. Medical staff rushed onto the field. They examined carefully. "He's fine," the chief medic announced. "Unconscious but no serious injury. Remarkable restraint from the human." His eyes opened. He looked up at who still stood beside him. The War Master tried to speak, coughed, then managed. "You fight like a shadow, teach me." Extended his hand and helped sit up. "It would be an honor, War Master." In the Galactic Council chamber, emergency meetings were called. Earth had just defeated the greatest warrior in the galaxy. Everything they thought they knew about combat had been challenged. The tournament organizers made an announcement that night. A special event would be held. Earth's complete team versus the Champions Coalition, 5 of the galaxy's very best warriors fighting as a unit. The galaxy would see if Earth's methods worked against coordinated, elite opposition. Gathered his team that night in their quarters. "This is what we came for," he said quietly. "Tomorrow we show them what true teamwork looks like." The others nodded. They had won individual battles. Now they would win the war. 10,000 worlds watched as the arena prepared for its largest configuration ever. The Nexus was a massive multi-level structure that combined every previous environment into one continuous battlefield. Forests blended into deserts. Urban ruins rose beside mountain cliffs. Zero-gravity zones floated above solid ground. It was chaos made into architecture. The Champions Coalition entered from the West Gate. 5 warriors, each a legend in their own right. K, the who had learned humility but not defeat. The Blade Master with reflexes faster than thought. In, the telekinetic who could crush metal with her mind. A warrior more machine than flesh, his body enhanced with cutting-edge technology. And the shapeshifter who could become anyone or anything. They moved in perfect formation, their differences united by a single purpose: prove that traditional warrior methods were superior. From the East Gate, Earth's team entered, led them with Minu and following. They wore the same simple black clothing, no formation, no visible coordination. They simply walked forward. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena and to the billions watching across space. "Elimination team battle. Last team standing wins. There are no rules except survival." A countdown began. 10 seconds, 9, 8. The coalition spread into their formation. K at the front, a wall of armor, and on the flanks ready to counter any attack. In the center, her mental powers reaching out, shifting to match the environment, ready to scout and infiltrate. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Earth's team scattered instantly. One moment they were a group, the next they had vanished into the Nexus like smoke in wind. No hesitation, no group discussion, just immediate action. The coalition faltered for just a moment, surprised by the instant dispersal. "Maintain formation," K commanded. "They can't hide forever, find them." Shifted into a small flying creature and took to the air, scanning the terrain below. Its many eyes could detect heat, movement, even subtle changes in air pressure. In a forested section, spotted movement. It dove down, shifting mid-flight into a predator form ready to strike. Was waiting. She had deliberately moved to draw attention, walking in a pattern designed to look like someone trying to stay hidden. As descended, she turned and threw 3 small objects. Dodged 2 of them easily. The third struck true, releasing a bright flash and loud bang. Disoriented, shape flickered, losing control of the transformation for a crucial second. That second was enough. His blade found its mark, collapsed, returning to its natural form, unconscious. "Is down," the announcer called. "First elimination to Earth." The Coalition's formation tightened. "They separated us from our scout," observed. "That was deliberate. They're hunting us." "Let them try," said, his cybernetic sensors active. His enhanced eyes could see through walls, detect motion in complete darkness. "I'm picking up movement. 70 meters heading toward the urban zone." He raised his arm. A plasma cannon emerged from his cybernetic limb and fired. The blast destroyed a wall, revealing nothing, another decoy. But the shot had given away his position. Minyu had planted small explosive charges throughout the urban area before the match even started, during those first few seconds when everyone thought Earth's team was just running away. Now he triggered them. Explosions erupted around, not close enough to harm him seriously through his armor, but enough to kick up debris and dust, blocking his sensors with interference. When the dust cleared, his weapons were gone. Minyu had used the confusion to disable them with precise cutting tools, severing power connections faster than could track. "Is disarmed," Minyu called out in English, his words translated for the audience. Charged toward Minyu's voice, relying on his physical strength. But running toward a ninja's voice was like chasing an echo. By the time he arrived, Minyu was elsewhere and was waiting. 3 precise strikes. The joints in cybernetic legs. The warrior crashed to the ground, his enhancements turned against him. Eliminated, 3 versus 5. K roared in frustration. "No more, we stay together, back-to-back formation." The remaining 3 coalition warriors formed a triangle, each watching a different direction. In floated slightly off the ground using her telekinesis, giving them a height advantage and additional protection. "They can't attack us all at once," said, "not without exposing themselves." It was smart thinking. Against normal opponents it would have worked. But Earth's team didn't fight normal battles. The environment around the coalition warriors began to change. Not the arena itself, but their perception of it. Small sounds from multiple directions, movements at the edge of vision, shadows that seemed to have depth. In tried to use her mental powers to locate the attackers, but the ninjas' minds remained disciplined, walled off from psychic intrusion. There, spotted moving between ruins in the distance. He charged, his incredible speed carrying him forward in a blur. But charging away from the formation was exactly what Earth's team wanted. Led him into a narrow corridor between 2 buildings. The space was tight, limiting's famous speed advantage. When he entered, she was already turning, her shorter blades perfect for close quarters. Their duel lasted only moments. In the open would have won easily. In the confined space, his weapons and training were superior. He fell, not dead but defeated. Eliminated, 2 against 5. Only K and In remained. They stood back to back now, the strength and this mental powers their last defense. All 5 members of Earth's team appeared around them, forming a circle but staying out of immediate range. "Come on then," K challenged. "Face us together if you must." But they didn't rush in. Instead, they rotated, constantly moving in a circle. K turned to follow them, but every time he focused on one, another would make a feint from a different direction. In tried to use her telekinesis to grab them, but attacking all 5 at once divided her power too much. When she focused on one, the others moved. They didn't attack in a swarm. They took turns, rotating their strikes, never giving K or N a chance to rest or predict the next attack. It was like fighting the ocean tide, constant, inevitable, exhausting. K blocked a strike from, but doing so left him open to attack. He defended against that, only to have Minyu strike from behind. Each hit wasn't devastating, but they added up, death by 1,000 cuts. In's mental shields began to crack under the strain. She had never faced opponents who coordinated so perfectly without speaking, without any visible signals. Finally stepped forward. He moved differently than the others, drawing K's full attention. "I remember our first meeting," said. "You called us cowards who hide in shadows." K, breathing heavily, his armor dented in a dozen places. "I was wrong." "No," replied. "You were right. We do hide in shadows, but shadows exist everywhere, even in the hearts of warriors. We simply learn to master them." He moved forward. K raised his arms to fight, but he was exhausted. Strike was almost gentle, a pressure point that shut down consciousness without pain. The massive fell and caught him just as he had caught, lowering him gently to the ground. In, alone now, lowered her hands. "I yield." The arena went silent for a heartbeat. Then it exploded with noise. Cheering, shouting, arguments, celebrations. The sound washed over everything like a wave. Winners, Earth's ninja team. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The Galactic Combat Federation offered Earth full membership with voting rights. 12 different worlds requested ninja training programs for their special forces. Resigned from his position as War Master and traveled to Earth, determined to understand this new way of fighting. At the formal ceremony, stood before the Galactic Council. They asked him to explain Earth's methods. "For 10,000 years," said, "my world has understood something simple. Strength is valuable, but it's not everything. Speed matters, but not as much as timing. Power is useful, but precision wins battles. We learn to be patient. We learn to adapt. We learn that the shadow is not weakness, it's wisdom." He paused, looking at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. "You mocked us because we fight from shadows, but we don't fear the light. We simply know that every light creates a shadow, and in that shadow we are strongest. You wanted warriors. We showed you what warriors can become when they stop fighting for glory and start fighting to win." The council had no response to that. They simply nodded and granted Earth everything it had requested. On the transport back to Earth's team sat quietly, looked at him and smiled. "They understand now." "Some do," replied. "Others will need more convincing, but that's fine. Let them watch, let them learn. Earth has earned its place among the stars." When they arrived home, hundreds of new students waited at the training compound, word of their victory having spread across Earth. People wanted to learn the ways of the ninja, to understand what had conquered the galaxy's greatest warriors. Stood at the compound entrance and looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was watching, learning, adapting. Earth had changed the rules of combat for everyone. The mocking had ended. They had proven their point. And now the real work would begin, teaching the galaxy that true strength comes not from the light alone, but from mastering the shadows between.